So I put a post the other day talking about how passive recovery is a scam. I want to go a little bit deeper into that. So what is passive recovery? Passive recovery is doing nothing. It's resting, but in a passive way. So that might be scrolling on your phone, watching TV, just doing nothing, bed rotting, sofa rotting, whatever you want to call it. It's a passive form of recovery. And in some instances, you may need that. It has its place. It does have its place. But more often than not, active recovery will beat passive recovery. When we get tired, we get burnt out, we're struggling, we're stressed, things are not working, we tend to slip into this passive recovery mode. But passive recovery doesn't reset your nervous system and it doesn't break that cycle. It just puts everything on pause. It's just hitting the pause button. It's not fixing anything. It's not moving you forwards. It's just keeping you stuck. And it might feel useful in the moment. It might feel like exactly what you need. But long term, it's not going to help. It's like having a phone with a battery that's draining and just turning the phone off. Like you've stopped it from draining any further, but you've not charged it back up. So it's that same principle. So what we need to do is learn how to incorporate active recovery into your week. Because if you can do that, then you can reset your nervous system, you can recharge it. And there's different ways of doing this. We can either ramp the nervous system up or we can down-regulate it depending on what you need. But in both instances, it's an active process. So there's loads and loads of different ways that you can do this. But some of the basic things are breath work, meditation, exposure to nature, so getting outside, physical movement. Depending on whether you need to ramp up or down, that will dictate what kind of physical movement you need. Connection, either with people or something you enjoy. And of course, creative expression. All of these things that we know as humans help us to thrive, but we tend not to engage in because we think we don't have time or we're too tired to do. When the thing is, you'll be less tired and feel less wrecked if you do engage in these things. So it's learning to reframe it from, I'm tired, I'm just going to passively rest, to, yes, I'm tired, but I'm going to do something that's going to help with that. Because it's so easy to just fall off and find yourself exhausted and not wanting to do anything, when in reality you have got to do something. Doing something when you don't want to do anything is the hardest thing ever, and it's why people struggle so much. It's why we stay stuck. But if you can learn to use a bit of grit, a bit of discipline, a little bit of reframing your thoughts and your stories around it, then you can start to take action and engage in some of these activities that will help reset your nervous system, that will help recharge and recover. Because when you work a stressful job like a first responder, you need to be prioritizing your recovery, because if you don't, you will hit burnout. And you know what happens when you hit burnout? Everything goes to shit. Not only do you feel terrible, it has a ripple effect into all the other areas of your life. Your work performance suffers, your relationships start to suffer, your physical body breaks down, and then that has repercussions. It's just this constant knock-on effect of all these different things going on, and then before you know it, everything's falling apart when it could have been prevented. There comes a time and place for dealing with burnout and active recovery from burnout, but if you can learn to implement active recovery on a weekly basis, then you can prevent it. It's preventative. It's the same reason why we exercise and we eat well. We don't do it because, we necessarily always want to do it. We do it as a preventative measure so that when we get old, we can still be healthy. We do it because we don't want to get sick and die. We do it because it's necessary. The same is true for your active recovery. It's preventative and it will also benefit you long term. So, like I said, there are different methods. There are different ways of applying those methods. And there are some intricate details around that. And these are all things that I help you with within the one-to-one coaching, whether you need to ramp up your nervous system, whether you need to down-regulate it, whether you need to do the brain rebuild so you get your cognitive processing better, whether you need to do some belief work and letting go of things. There's all kinds of stuff. There's all different ways to do this, which is why I work with people one-to-one, because it's quite nuanced and everybody will need something slightly different. But as a basis, you can start with some of those things I've discussed: getting outside, doing some movement, connecting with people, doing things you enjoy, doing some breath work. Easy physiological shift, that one that works really well. So if you want details on how me and you can work together to incorporate this into your life, then let me know. Drop me a DM with the word one-to-one and I will send you the details over. Or just try some of those things and see how you get on with them. See what you can implement. If you want some actual stuff to follow that's not one-to-one coaching, you can do the 4-week reset. So I put together the 4-week reset to focus on some of this stuff. And week 4 actually dives into active recovery specifically, and it gives you one of my recovery protocols. So you can always go ahead and do that. So if you want the 4-week reset, which is free, comment reset and I'll send that over and you can sign up to that. Or if you want to personalize this and you want to really dive in deep, drop me a DM one-to-one and I'll give you the details.